We're going to call this regular meeting of the board to order. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Adoption of agenda. It's recommended that the agenda of the May 12th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Approval of minutes. Recommended that the minutes of the April 14th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented. Motion.
Second.
All in favor? We have no statements or questions from the public. Administrative recommendations, claims. It is recommended that the prepaid and May claims number 3,974 through 4,090 and 22,080 through 22,095 be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Personnel. It is recommended that the resignation of Macy Slider as a teacher at Southeast Fountain Elementary be approved as presented.
Kelly or Josh, do you want to, since they're all your staff, do you want to tell them where Macy's going or?
I don't know. Can we talk about resignations since those are kind of personal things or?
Just that she's going to another
She got a
district.
job somewhere.
It's not a termination.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
just don't want to overspeak.
Motion. Second.
Crystal, go ahead.
Crystal. All in favor? It's recommended that the resignation of Jill Sillery as the Southeast Fountain speech language pathologist be approved as presented. Motion.
She took a job.
She took a job elsewhere. Josh, motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that Kim Dotson be hired as an instructional aide at Southeast Fountain Elementary for the 2022-2023 school year.
Kim has been a substitute in our building and a long-term sub at the high school in both the FACS department and now special education. And so we feel like she'll be a really great addition to our staff as instructional aide in the fall. She's also currently working on obtaining her teaching license.
Awesome.
Great.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? On the quotes, a motion was made that the quote from MCOR Services in the amount of $31,450 to conduct HVAC repairs in both buildings be approved as presented.
Okay, there are actually 11 separate quotes for parts, either parts or services for things at the elementary building done for the HVAC, because the total amount exceeds that $10,000 threshold. I put them together for your approval. This money we do out of our ESSER 3 grant had $1 million set aside for HVAC things. So we certainly have the funds to pay for what we're doing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that the quote from Perfection Painting in the amount of $37,800 be approved as presented. This will include painting the main gym and auxiliary gym, as well as painting a Mustang mural in the main gym.
Okay, we did get quotes from, besides Perfection Painting, from Certa Pro Painters and also from BK Painting. But the Perfection Painting had the nicest what they were offering to us and so forth, and all of the prices were pretty close to each other. But this one is also the only one that would be able to do the mural that we're hoping to do as well.
All of the quotes are linked in that,
Yeah, I
not
see.
just the perfection.
So that,
And just so everybody heard, there's a mural going back up on the wall.
We're hoping, well, they haven't voted yet.
Motion?
second.
All in favor? It's recommended that the quote from Bloom that was approved last month be amended to include an additional $800 for shipping costs.
Okay, last month you approved for our interactive TVs, and what wasn't on the quote, and I apologize that I didn't catch it either, was the shipping amount on there. So, so I'm asking you to approve it. I could approve this amount, but I don't want to, if State Board of Accounts comes, say, oh, you spent 800 more than what your board said you could spend. So I want you to approve the shipping as well.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Policies, it is recommended that the revision to policy number 220, audit of free and reduced lunch applications, be approved as presented.
Okay, right now, when we get applications for the free and reduced lunch, our policy says that we will audit 10% of those. When the auditor was here a few weeks ago, she said that we could just have a number of applications that we're going to review. And so I'm requesting that you change it from 10% to 5%. That way, because our student population changes every year. This way, Bree will know exactly how many she needs to audit.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the revision to policy number 319, wellness policy, be approved as presented.
Okay, in the wellness policy, this is an existing policy, but two things that need to be changed. One thing, under the nutritional standards, our policy says sodium limit of 230 milligrams, and that has changed. And now that snack items have to have less than 200 milligrams. So we need to revise that in our policy. And then also our policy says that food and beverages will not be sold in school stores. That would mean we have to stop selling at our coffee shop in the library or the Spanish fundraiser, or any of that. So I'm requesting that we remove will not and put the word may in there so that it's okay to sell in those locations or other school stores. And of course, we know that those items sold have to follow the healthy guidelines.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that policy number 353, enrollment process time, be adopted as presented.
Okay, we get new students in sometimes, and it takes a little time. You have to verify from the other school where they're coming, so we put students in the right grade, in the right courses and things like that. And it just has come to my attention that sometimes when families get there, they think they can fill out the registration and kiss their child goodbye as they go off to class for the day. We still need time for Quinn to get computers set up, for teachers to know who this child is that's about to walk in their classroom, things like that. So I'm proposing that we make this policy that it gives us 2 school days, 48 hours, or school day hours, after they get enrolled, so that we can verify everything before that student actually starts attending class.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the policy number 354, technology, network, and internet safety, be adopted as presented.
Quinn, can you tell them a little bit more about this? Kudos to Quinn for working on all of this, lot of information here.
Yeah, it is a lot of information, so I'll mostly let the document speak for itself, but just trying to get some stuff up to date, added stuff in there about SIPA and FERPA, some of those child protection things that we didn't have anywhere listed. One thing that was brought to my attention was about a student using their own device, and then a question came up about when it came to state testing. No, we can't allow that because we don't have the protections on their device that we have on ours. So just a collection of things that kind of were brought to my attention that this hopefully gets us up to date. It gives us some protections for our network and the things that we do where we can say, no, that personal device, I don't know what's on that. I don't control that. It gives us some teeth to be able to say no to that kind of stuff. But it also gives us some freedom and stuff for teachers to be able to do what they want to do in their classrooms. And so this gives us some wiggle room, but also gives us a lot of protection. So I think that it's a pretty, it's beefy, but it's a good drawdown on everything.
Great, thank you. Motion?
Second. All in favor? Thank you, Quinn. It is recommended that policy number 524, cost principles, be adopted as presented.
Okay, this is when we had our State Board of Accounts audit this spring. One of the things she noted, we don't have this policy in place. And a couple years ago, it became something that districts were supposed to add to their policy manual. So I'm proposing that we do this. I looked at the policy that our auditor actually gave us a sample and took that so to make sure that we have what the state is looking for in the policy.
Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second?
All in favor? It's recommended that policy number 525, ADM counts, be adopted as presented.
Okay, again, this is something we do, ADM counts, and that's how we get our funding, and we do them twice a year. And we sign off on those policies. We sign off on the ADM count before the state report is submitted, but we don't have a policy in our policy manual saying that how it has to be done and how it works. So again, the auditor noted that needed to be a policy we have, and so that's what it is.
Motion?
Second. All in favor? On to other business. It is recommended that the donation in the amount of $1,200 from Kevin Merriman and family to purchase tarps to cover the softball pitching mound and home plate areas be approved as presented.
We always appreciate when our community wants to donate things to.
Thanks, Carter. For sure.
Yeah.
It says family. It says family.
To upgrade our facilities, and we're very appreciative of it.
For sure.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor? It is recommended that the amendment to the Airmark agreement be approved as presented.
Airmark, our food service, we're under contract with, but each year, the state requires us to review that agreement with Airmark. I had to send it to the state for them to look at it and make sure that what I'm asking you to agree with meets state requirements. I had to look under sam.gov to make sure that Airmark is a reputable business. And then the last stage each year, then I have to get, if the board approves, for us to continue having Airmark provide our food service.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It's It's recommended that the new position of water safety instructor at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School be approved for the 2022-2023 school year.
So we have not been able since COVID to have the swimming program here. It ongoing prior to COVID, and since it's hard to get someone to do that job and to want to stay in that position year after year. A lot of times, I think Kelly has hired someone and then they've taken a different position the next year in the district or whatever. So I'm hoping by creating this position, it would be a 182-day contract that the person would have the elementary kids coming over to teach swimming to. There may be times when we can do it to junior high. That'll depend on scheduling and all the other things. But they'll be working, teaching swimming all day. I want to pay them a little bit more than what an instructional assistant would make. So hopefully it will entice them to stay in that job and not go into one of our IA positions that happens. We would also pay for their certification to be a water safety instructor, and if there's annual recertifications, things like that. I researched that online. I saw that the Red Cross in Lafayette has a program for WSI that's like $250 for that. So not a huge price, but I just think this would be a good way to bring back the program and find someone that would be willing to stay there for a while, hopefully.
Motion?
Second.
2 seconds.
Thank you.
All in favor? It is recommended that the new positions of 2 student lifeguards at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School be approved for the 2022-2023 school year.
So with this, it does a couple things. Number one, we have more eyes watching the kids that are in the pool. Someone who is a lifeguard and knows how to jump in if necessary and help someone. But also, Rachel Foxworthy, our guidance director, researched some ways that we could do this to help the students as well, because if we want them to spend 3 class periods doing it, how would we mark that? So there are courses we can offer, career exploration internship, an elective PE credit, and in year 1, for example, they might get peer tutoring credit for tutoring those elementary students in their swimming. And year 2, they can still get career exploration internship and elective PE, but they could also get human development and wellness. It meets within the state's guidelines of what those courses are. So the 2 student lifeguards would be getting those credits each year. But also because it's a career exploration internship, it would be a paid internship. We would pay for their lifeguard certification, which helps with college career. Really, we're giving them an employable skill. And also we would pay them $10 per hour for the learning opportunity as they're working there. That would be part of their internship. And we're hoping, ideally, I would love it if we eventually had a junior and a senior and that junior would stay 2 years. Or if we get 2 juniors this year and they stay 2 years and then we start again, it would be nice if we could get those kids that are interested in staying 2 years, not unlike we do with some of our CTE programs and things like that.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the 2 grants from Project Lead the Way in the amount of $2,900 for training teachers in new programs be approved as presented.
Lindsay wrote those grants, so do you want to tell them what those grants will be used for, Lindsay?
Yes, last month I talked about the larger STEM acceleration grant that we got that will be adding Project Lead the Way, both in the elementary and then for junior high. And so through Project Lead the Way, so that we could reserve all of the other grant money for actual curriculum, Project Lead the Way offers some smaller grants to pay for the training because both of the teachers that will be teaching these new courses will have to go through Project Lead the Way training. So it's a total of $2,900, the two grants together. So.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? That leads us to the elementary report.
So we want to give best wishes to Mrs. Sillery and Miss Slider as they move on in their careers. Both fantastic educators in their own right. And Mrs. Sillery is an experienced teacher and Miss Slider is a new educator. And we will miss them greatly. We do want to welcome Kim Dotson. Again, we're excited to have her. We do want to report that we held our kindergarten roundup and we saw approximately about 65 children. So we feel like we should be back into that average class range that we like to see. Last year was a little small, but we're glad to see that enrollment looking like it's going back up again for those kindergarten students. And our preschool program is also expanding. We have 18 students signed up for our preschool program. So we've added an instructional aide to that classroom as well. So that's really exciting to have 18 potential kindergartners then moving on the next year already being in the building every day. Our next Student Appreciation Day is this coming Monday, May 16th. We will be at Hub Park with our students for the last Appreciation Day of the year. We also have 2 big field trips coming up for our 5th and 6th grade students as they say goodbye to elementary school and head across the parking lot. So they'll be going to Hanging Rock as well as the Indianapolis Indians game, which will be really exciting for them. Their promotion ceremony is the following week, so on May 26th. We will have our 5th graders being promoted at 6 o'clock and our 6th graders being promoted at 7 o'clock in the gym. And lastly, we just want to wish everyone a safe and happy summer. It's hard to believe we've wrapped up the year. It has been really successful.
Thank you, Kelly. Mr. Shavy for the high school.
Well, in mid-May, we'd like to say that all of our testing is complete, but it's not quite there yet. We're getting there though. Our AP testing is complete, and we're happy to say that we have 54 total exams taken in AP US History, AP Human Geography, English and Literature, Calculus, and Chemistry. As we spoke about a few months ago, we are partnering with the AP Tip-In program through Notre Dame, a grant that we received. And our AP teachers, we're hoping to increase our enrollment and increase our success rate there. Our AP teachers will be attending the Summer Institute July 12th through July 15th. On the testing front, junior high iLearn is complete. The coordination, just to get a schedule together, it's pretty intense, and then to accommodate students who test a little bit longer or who are absent takes a lot of work. So thank you to Mrs. Good for leading that. Also, thank you to Mrs. Foxworthy and Mrs. Watson in our counseling department. I know Mr. Hall also stepped in and proctored testing when we needed to, and then the teaching staff in the junior high just for their flexibility. We will wrap up our testing next week with biology iLearn for 9th graders, and then, obviously final exams, but the state testing will be wrapped up then. For the 2nd year in a row, we are going to be offering summer school through our online platform, Apex, which is the platform we utilize for our virtual academy. To date, we have 21 students enrolled for the summer session. Some of that is credit recovery for students who need to retake a course, but a majority of that for the 2nd year in a row is ambitious students who are looking to get courses taken for what we term advanced credit. Seniors, a lot of times, especially our WR CTE students, have a hard time getting all of their senior courses in, so they like to take government econ early. Some of our upper level sophomores to be are going to take health and wellness for advanced credit. So we've got 21 students there. And then next Tuesday, Mr. Davenport and Mrs. Morgan are coming over across the parking lot to host our incoming 6th and 7th grade students, along with myself. They've organized a meeting. Just one more time to touch base, fill in parents with information that maybe we didn't have ready for them, more particulars and things like that, to kind of ease into the transition. That's Tuesday at 5:30. We're looking forward to that. With that, it's time for our student report. And I believe this is Carter's second year on our student board and its final board meeting before he graduates. Obviously, you guys can tell, but one of our top two students, a hardworking student in the classroom, a dedicated athlete over the course of his high school career, a very polite young man who's courteous and kind to all that he comes in contact with, and just really a great friend to many. So I've had the pleasure of knowing him for 4 years, and it's the last hurrah, so go out with a bang, buddy.
Carter, thank you very much for doing this. I know this, you were the kind of in on the first year that we've done this. So what have you thought about it over 2 years?
I've enjoyed it. It's kind of like helped me prepare, like if I have to attend meetings in the future, so like see how it's conducted for the most part. So it's been educational to say the least. So.
But we appreciated your spending the extra time doing this.
It's fun coming here, so what better could you be doing on a Thursday?
Right.
You're so excited you came early.
Yeah, he was here like, he stuck his head in, it's like, am I too early?
4:30.
All right, Carter, go ahead.
So last week was prom. It was on Friday. It was at the Beef House, and there's a lot of people there at the after prom too that was at the school. I've been told it's the best prom and after prom in the WRC, so hopefully it continues to be there. The senior pizza lunch took place April 21st in the Ox Gym. It was a fun time to just sit and eat and talk to all of my friends. I know there's like a kind of a big game of poker going on, and I was playing euchre, and the girls were doing whatever girls do. And, yeah,
Really?
I think they were.
No money on the table. For the record.
Yes, no money. Last night was the senior awards night in the main gym. Over $174,000 in local scholarships were awarded last night. SE seniors also earned over $212,000 in scholarship funds from their respective colleges and universities. The total amount of scholarship funds awarded to SE students for 2022 was $386,944. Final exam schedule, we have exams May 24th, 25th, and 26th, and then for seniors, it's the 25th and 26th. The graduation practice, Beef House lunch, Thursday, May 26th, beginning at 9 a.m. And then after that, the seniors will walk to the elementary school and then the high school immediately following practice, and then have lunch at the Beef House. And then graduation is May 27th at 7 p.m.
And just to add a little bit to Carter speaking about the scholarships awarded last night, just when we sat down here, got an email that over the last 6 years, our students have been awarded over $2.2 million in scholarships through our local stuff here, and then also their prospective schools and universities. So it's really outstanding, especially with the local scholarships and the amount of support that our students are given moving forward. And we're proud to have awarded those funds last night over the last 6 years.
Great.
Thank you very much. With that, welcome Craig Newby. He's the director of the CTE. He's going to have a presentation for us.
Okay, appreciate you having me. I appreciate the invite. I kind of put together a presentation that's assuming there's different levels of understanding of what the WRCT is. So really what the WRCT is a service cooperative among the 8 school corporations in Park, Vermillion, Fountain, and Warren counties. And so what they do is share the resources, share the funding, expenses to provide programming that you just couldn't do in a small school setting on your own for all of these opportunities for these students. And she's, Dr. Grimes said, oh, you don't have to go into the finance aspect of it. If there's another time you really want me to go into that, I can take up a lot of your time with the finance. So really today, we'll just kind of really discuss kind of what it is, what programs we have. The WRCTE actually was formed in 2015 with the consolidation of what was the Park Vermillion Education and Training Interlocal and the Fountain and Warren County Schools, who were members of the West Central Cooperative. So in the past, Fountain Central students would go to Montgomery County for a lot of the programming. And at that time in 2015, the conversation started with the Park and Vermillion County superintendents. They were looking to create a new special education cooperative. So they started talking to the Fountain and Warren County superintendents about doing that. And then the Fountain and Warren County superintendent said, well, while we're talking, let's discuss career and technical education. So I was the director of PAVETI at the time and just kind of doubled the amount of schools and programs that we worked with at that time. So we primarily operate as WRCTE North, which is Fountain and Warren, and WRCTE South, which is Park and Vermillion. We have 28 programs throughout those 4 counties, housed at the 8 different high schools. You're in a good situation, you'll see it here later on, where some of your students have the opportunity to go into some of the WRCTE South schools just because you're pretty close to some of those programs. And I should put this slide earlier, but about myself, in 98, I received a bachelor's degree in agricultural education from Purdue. And then in 2004 is when I received my master's in educational leadership and foundations from Indiana State. So my background, taught agriculture at Riverton Park. I was fortunate enough to be able to become their assistant principal for 3 years. And then apparently I didn't mess up too bad. They invited me to another Park County school to be the principal and was the principal there at Turkey Run for a few years. And then had the opportunity to go into the role that I'm currently in with the Park and Vermillion County Schools. And then in 2015, had the honor to start working in Fountain and Warren County as well. So have a wife, Kelly, almost 20 years together. And then our daughters, Madison and Alexa. So what do I do? So I work closely with the superintendents to work to really look at the program budgets, look at enrollments, and make sure that those programs are funded and operating to what their expectations are. The school administration work real closely with the principals, assistant principals. We're fortunate we have great teachers, but we do have those conversations. Okay, what could these teachers improve upon? What can we help them with? And what are you seeing? What am I seeing? Because I'm the person who has the career and tech ed background. Sometimes our principals are more geared towards the academic classrooms and improving those academic classrooms. So it really gives me a good opportunity to work with our administrators to improve those programs, set goals, and then in the rare case we have discipline, we work together to try to get that taken care of. The school counselors, we work a lot. This is really the time of year we get to work together an awful lot. We're building these classes, recruiting the students, getting students out to see the programs and coordinating all of that. And so that's taking place this time of year. And then, of course, the teachers working with them to identify curriculum, equipment, supplies, and what other needs they have. And of course, I have to make sure I keep track of all the ever-changing rules that you're aware of that the state likes to throw out. Every year we get new rules, new guidelines. So I'm the person in these 4 counties that really needs to understand the career and technical education side of that. I'm going to go through the course summary for the programs that your students have access to. And so when I have the school listed, and there's a second page to this, but when I have the school listed, that's where that program is located. And also, I'm going to, whenever you see just inside what? I never taught English. Yes, inside, inside of that is how many students you have enrolled in that particular course. And then to the right of that is if there is dual credit associated with it, where that dual credit is coming from. Most of our courses receive between 6 and 9 credit hours per year for their enrollment in these particular classes. We're transitioning into some new course titles. And if Ivy Tech approves it, we'll be moving closer to the 12 to 15 per year mark of free dual credit that actually counts towards a certificate at Ivy Tech or Vincent University. So we're really looking at, and we're in the process with welding here, of really upping that dual credit to make it a major impact financially for the families as we move forward. The computer help desk and networking is located at Attica. It is our lowest enrollment. Students right now are just, they seem to be struggling to want to take some of those particular courses. So we are gonna take 1 year off next year with that program at Attica. Hope to reinvigorate it and get it rolling again the following year. Criminal justice is, as I said, at Attica, so they're associated with Vincent University. Ted Latos is the instructor, and really the numbers are starting to grow in that particular programming. To me, it's awesome to see students take an interest in criminal justice, because so often what we hear in the media is not in a positive light, but we still have kids that have an interest in that, and that really excites me. Precision machine, at this point, you don't have any students enrolled in it, but we do, I believe, have 2 or 3 who are wanting to take it from Fountain Central next year. Covington is the automotive classroom that you folks invested money in a couple years ago. Happy to take you over there sometime and show you around. It's really an awesome facility. You have 7 students enrolled in that. There is Ivy Tech dual credits associated with that, and also there's student certifications. So students will test to get what's called the ASE student certification, and right at 90% of our students actually get at least 1 certification by the time they graduate, and most of them get more than that. Dallas Pepley, he's been there for quite some time as the instructor, and he's darn good. And he.
We just gotta keep him hanging on, right?
We do. So those kids, they are taught not to the test, but what they're learning in that class is right in line with what's going on with the ASE standards and the ASE requirements. So that's pretty exciting to have that success. Here at Fountain Central, you made that investment in the construction technology program 3 years ago, and we're seeing nothing but growth. And so you're to be commended for what is going on with that program, the support you're giving to that program. Started out just a half-time teacher, and so it has grown to a full program, building a house. We were talking today, I don't see how they were able to get that house built with student labor done in that short window of time, or almost done in that short period of time. And it's amazing that they were able to do that, and definitely something to be proud of. And so the next step is, and that was another part of our conversation today, was we have too many kids wanting to take it next year. And
That's a good problem.
it's a good problem. And so how are we going to maneuver through that? And so we're putting some ideas in place, and hopefully to do the best we can to meet the needs of the most possible kids. And but you have 5 enrolled this year. That's associated with Ivy Tech. Ed Professions, that's another program like in its 3rd year. Joe Clark has done an amazing job overseeing that. And another field, kind of like, all of these we're proud of, but boy, this one ties directly into us as educators, because she has 20 to 30 kids every year that want to work with kids, want to work in the classrooms. And man, if we can just grow a few of our own teachers, that'll really help pay dividends down the road. And so that to me is exciting, and 10 of your students are enrolled in that. Welding, another one of those problem programs, and that is we have had, again, too many students wanting to take that class this year. And so we came up with a nice solution to be able to get a lot of kids through that program this year. Thankfully, Kurt Williams worked with us to do that. But yeah, 14 of your students are enrolled in that particular class, and they can leave as soon as they graduate without any college debt and get some really good jobs. And we're real proud of that program. They also, AWS welding qualifications. Most of our students leave with 1 to 3 AWS qualifications. And it's not the AWS certifications, but it's the American Welding Society qualifications that basically says okay, this student is capable of doing these different welds. They are actually sent, so they'll do a weld, they'll do a bend test to make sure they actually hold up, and they'll be sent off to an independent certification facility, and that's where they get told if they get that certification or that qualification. So it's our kids, again, are very successful with those. Seeger hosts culinary arts, one of the best, well, about the only rural culinary arts program in the state of Indiana. Most of the culinary arts programs are located in urban centers. And so it's pretty cool to see what they do there and how they do it, the quality that they do it in. So associated with Ivy Tech, and then they also, most of them receive the SEFSC certification by the time they're done with their first year of that course. Health careers, which basically is the CNA program, and you have 6 students enrolled in that, and our success rate of getting those CNAs. So realistically, a student, their junior year, they can take their junior or senior year, but their junior year, they can take this class, and towards the end of the year, they can take that CNA certification. If they pass it, then if they want to, their senior year, they can go to work in a long-term care facility or any facility that accepts a CNA certification or needs a CNA certification. And the hourly rates are pretty high for those kids. And so it's a good opportunity for them, or to also just do an internship at a different location. Pharmacy technology, that's an online course that students sometimes will take along with the health careers class, and I think you had one, took that and did well with it. And but that gets them that farm tech certification. Precision agriculture, that is one of the programs that right now is they're able to get 15 credit hours through Ivy Tech in dual credit with that class. And the certification, it's pretty tough for a junior or senior to pass this one. The FAA drone operator, but they do get prepared for that and go to Purdue to take that test. Down at Park Heritage, this is a program that really kind of drew some interest from your students starting last year, and that was the vet science class that we have. And it was built 4 years ago with a grant from the Indiana Department of Education, and it is set up very close to like what the vet hospital would be like in the back. You know, it has the where they can do the exams. It has a groom room. It has everything that those students need to really get a lot of the experiences that they need if they want to go into the vet industry. And so that's a relatively new program in Indiana. There's very few of those around. You have 3 in it this year. I think you have another 2 to 3 who are wanting to take it again next year. Cosmetology, that's located down on the square. We independently contract with Thompson's College of Cosmetology located on the square in Rockville. And so those students, by the time right now we have a lot of them, their senior year, who have already gone and taken their tests and the cosmetology licenses are rolling in. And so that's pretty awesome for our kids to be able to have that opportunity to have that license to either immediately start their career or to go to college and have a higher paying job to be able to pay their way through college with this cosmetology license. So over at North Vermillion, you have had some students in both of these programs. You don't this year, but EMT or EMS, that's located at North Vermillion, along with robotics and advanced manufacturing. And with that one, they get a FANUC robotic operator certification. Any questions on that's all the programs.
It's great.
So
Great.
we're proud of them. We're proud of them. So, and kids get a lot out of them. Here's just a kind of a rundown on numbers. So 2019-20, there were 218 students enrolled in Fountain and Warren County programs. So when you're looking at just juniors and seniors and looking at 4 relative small schools and seeing how many of those are your kids, that's a lot of enrollment in WRCTE program. We saw an uptick with Fountain Central students in 2021 and 21-22, we saw a drop off, but You have smaller classes. You have smaller classes up at that upper level. So when you have fewer kids, that's just naturally, you're going to have fewer enrolled in those particular programs. Here, whenever I told you we were having some problems, and the problems are good, you look at 22, 23, at this point, we have 270 applicants for our Fountain and Warren County programs, and 75 of those are yours. So that is, if we look at, so many times we look at our problems as, we just don't have enough kids. Our problems looking forward is, okay, where are we going to put them? How are we going to do it? And what's that going to look like? And so, there's a lot of reasons behind it, but one of the reasons is that the stigma of career and technical education, I think, is finally falling off for years. And I can guarantee you, when I went through school, I was persuaded against taking a vocational class because I was on track to go to college. And so that was common for a long time. And I really feel like it's starting to not be common. I really feel like the schools get it, the teachers get it, and most importantly, the parents get it. And that's where if you don't have the parents on board, then you're not going to get the enrollment. And so that's really what I see taking place. And the other, this is just Craig Newby's opinion, doesn't mean it's correct, but I think the last 2 years, a lot of kids are just sick of sitting and just doing what they did during the pandemic. And now you have a chance to get out, do something with your hands. I think that's part of it. I think that's part of the trajectory and where we're going. The other part, and I'll go through this quickly. Mr. Shavy can do this a lot better than I can, I'm sure, but with his background in counseling. But here's what's required. These are the 3 buckets, what the state call the buckets to graduate from high school. So bucket 1 and bucket 2, that's handled for the most part pretty easily, just through the day-to-day operations of school. Bucket 3, a student has to meet one of those bullets in order to graduate. So if they get an honors diploma or technical honors diploma, no problem. If they're a good test taker, if they do well on the ACT, ASAT, and ASVAB, they're fine. But we all know we have a building with kids over there that aren't the best test takers. We maybe aren't going to get that honors diploma, but they're hardworking kids and they're going to do fine. That's where the career and technical education concentrator comes in. So if they take one of our programs for 1 year and get a C or higher, then they fulfill this bucket. And so this, when I started 10 years ago, we had kids that couldn't take our classes because they were in remediation. They had to stay at the school, sit in remediation because they couldn't pass a test. And they had to be remediated to possibly pass that test, but just so the schools could prove to the state that they were trying to get them to that level so they could pass that test. And so when they made the change to allow a kid to qualify, because now we don't have to remediate, we can put them in a program that actually fits their needs and gets them ready for a career. It's a great opportunity, and that's where a lot of our numbers and enrollments are being driven as well. And of course, if you ever want to follow us on social media, we have a new administrative assistant who is in charge of Instagram. That's not me. So she also does a lot of work with our Facebook page. And so we definitely like to brag on our kids. So we try to do some posts, and just one of our WRCT South programs, the health careers, they took a field trip down to Indiana State. And some of them graduated from Ivy Tech before they even graduated from their high school. There's Vince. He had 3 students in his precision machine program from Attica that went on to Vincennes University, and they graduated here a few days ago. And Vince Evans drove down and he was so proud of them and wanted to be there for their graduation.
He's a really good instructor.
Oh my, he puts it all on his kids, and they are, you know, he drove through, he will drive these kids like these kids. These were one of his first groups. He drove them over to Caterpillar, Subaru, just to see the opportunities that were over there. And he was making sure, because he knows they're not seeing it. So he will take them anywhere to give them some opportunities. Cosmetology school, Nucor giving away things. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And there's one on down here that happened that I just thought was darn neat.
Yes.
And that's your kids over there in that welding lab and getting those experiences and seeing what it's like over there. And so that was something I was pretty proud of, just seeing. And Curtis, of course, they ended up having those little ones over there. So I think numbers, I know numbers are going to keep on driving with exposure like this. That's all I have. Are there any questions?
Great program, great program.
I'll say this because I was involved with this for years now, on advisory boards and through Nucor donations. But I want to commend you for when you come along, you help build these programs. You've done a really good job.
Thank you.
I want to congratulate you on that. It made a big difference. I'm not going to badmouth the previous guy,
Sure.
but it was dragging.
Yeah.
And you picked it up and carried it, and it makes a big difference to the instructors I know, the ones I'm involved with that said, you know, hey, I can call Craig and he's on it.
Yeah.
So that makes a big difference. So don't give all the credit to them. It's partially you too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
But there are some really good instructors out there that are doing a really fantastic job with these kids.
Yeah, they're happy to be there.
Mhm.
You know that we have a group of instructors that that's their passion, and they are happy to be there. So, but thank you.
And I'm personally attached to this kind of program because you made a mention of the welding. Nucor contractors hire a lot of those welders right out of high school, and they go right to work making really good money.
They like knocking on the door here and meeting the kids.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference if the kid doesn't realize that they're wanted right now, and so that's big.
Yeah. And what an opportunity our kids have right now to go out in the workforce with these type of skills. I mean, has it ever been a better opportunity in the workforce?
Well, I
right now?
mean, when you think about the amount of jobs that are out there and the
I mean, the
wages-
demand is so high.
the wages that the people who are low skilled
Yeah.
can garner. Imagine some of these wages that these folks that are actually high skilled can get. Yeah.
Exciting times.
The thing about what these kids are learning in these programs is it's something that can never be taken away from them. No matter what they do in life, they have those skills.
Yes.
It's pretty awesome.
I love just walking through the classrooms and just seeing what's taking place.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sure thing.
I lost my place. Statements from the superintendent.
I have a number of people that I want to acknowledge tonight. First of all, Staff Appreciation Week was just the first week of the month. And we tried to do a lot of things to show all of our staff how much we appreciated them. But I just want to say, you know, whether certified, our support staff, our bus drivers, just everyone that works around here just does such a great job. And truly, you know, we're working with people that truly have a heart for kids and for making a better place in this world, in this community. And I'm so appreciative of all of our staff, not just during Staff Appreciation Week. Second, last month I told you sometimes I get some acknowledgements from other staff members or other people for some of our staff, and I think that when those are shared with me, I think that they need to be made public, not just come to me. So I'm going to share a few of those that I got. First, I received an email from Ryan Hall, that said, "Good evening. My daughter Elena lost her tennis match tonight. She had some tears afterward. However, I want you to know that Coach Webb did an absolutely amazing job coaching and talking to her afterwards. In all my years of coaching and being a parent, I've never heard a conversation like that. He got Elena to realize a lot about herself and the game of tennis. Just thought you should know." The next one, I received an email that said from Megan Fishrow. "Good afternoon. I just want to make you aware of a gesture by a staff member over here at the high school that really goes above and beyond in my eyes. At breakfast and lunch in the cafeteria, even if the kids don't want it, they have to select a juice and a milk for the meal plan. If they don't open it, they've always put it on the stage and others have come up to grab an extra. At the end of that time, any leftover would then be disposed of. It wasn't long before Mr. Shaby came and talked to me about how much that bothered him, and he knew the kids would drink them later rather than wasting them. So throughout the year, he's been collecting these juices and extra milks, and he then takes the tray out during passing periods, and kids simply come up and take what they want. This, to me, goes the extra mile. He has also been gracious enough to share some of those juices for me to pass out to kids that need them in the health clinic. So again, we appreciate what Mr. Shady's doing, and I'm glad that he was acknowledged by a colleague for that. And the third one, Mrs. Hammond sent to all staff. The Indianapolis Colts have teamed up with Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield to launch the Classroom Quarterbacks Program. The Classroom Quarterbacks Program aims to recognize school teachers, administrators, nurses, and staff members who go above and beyond for their students, schools, and communities. I'm pleased to share with you that Mr. Chris Webb was nominated and selected as one of the top 10 finalists. As a top 10 finalist, Mr. Webb will receive a $100 Amazon gift card for school supplies, 2 tickets to the first regular season home game of the Colts 2022 season, a Colts stretch fit hat, and co-branded Colts Anthem adjustable visor. And then one of the finalists will be named as the Classroom Quarterback of the Year and receive a $2,500 donation for their school. The Classroom Quarterback of the Year will be selected by a panel of education professionals, the Indianapolis Colts and the Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield in mid to late May. So again, congratulations to Mr. Webb, who is certainly deserving of that. And thank you to Ashley Hammond, who nominated him for that as well. I also want to acknowledge a couple staff members. First of all, Lindsay shared tonight the grants that we just got for Project Lead the Way and the grant for STEM. And I just wanted to say how much I appreciate that every time one of those things come across, even though her job description and title is this long, whenever some of those things come across and I go around the corner to her office and say, "Hey, Lindsay," she embraces it, she takes it on, and she's very successful with it. And I just really, really appreciate that. I also want to acknowledge Shirley Yeager. If you were at our awards program last night or about a month ago, there was another one. Graduation is coming up in a couple weeks. She spends countless hours organizing everything, then having everything laid out in the perfect order so that you can go right through the program and just everything. And for example, last night at the awards program, we have lots and lots of guests coming in to present these. They knew exactly what to do and when to do it and where the awards were because she has everything so organized. So I just want to, again, say how much I appreciate Shirley Yeager. I want to say how much I appreciate Kelly, Josh, and their committee. If you did not make it to the 50th anniversary of the elementary, you missed something really special. Their school did a phenomenal job of of welcoming people from throughout the community. And I know that it was just a steady stream of guests through there, and it was a wonderful afternoon. And I even went later that afternoon, after I got home, and I went to Kroger in Crawfordsville. Someone came up to me there and recognized me, had seen me at the program, and said, "I just want to tell you again how nice it was to go through that program." So, and to that open house. So thank you, Kelly, Josh, and your committee. I want to thank, I had mentioned a couple times, we had some audits. First of all, we had a State Board of Accounts audit that lasted about 6 weeks and was just everything you can think of they were going through. But I especially want to acknowledge Cindy, Chelsea, Lindsay, and then Brianna Alexander at the elementary school. Because the four of them, I think, got called upon to produce documents and answer questions and things more than anyone else throughout that audit. And we came out with really good results from our audit. So thank you to them for knowing the answers, not because they were telling her what she wanted to hear, but because they knew our processes and our procedures and were able to show that we're doing what we're supposed to do. Also, we had an IDOE audit about 2 weeks later that looked at our food service. So Sharina and Jennifer from Aramark really did a lot of stuff with that auditor as they went through. And again, we had a few things. We changed some, our policy, adjusted our wellness policy and things like that, but really it was a good audit. And I'm happy to say, that these ladies helped for that to be a successful audit. Next, I would be remiss if I didn't take the time to say how much we appreciate Carter and Marley and for their time being our student representatives. And Carter, I know that Marley's not here tonight, but we have something for each of you. And if you want to give Mr. Shaden. The board and I would like you to know how much we appreciate the time that you've given here. We know that you're very busy and, between athletics and academics and church and community and all the things you do, you still took the time to try to be here each month, you for the past 2 years. And we're just very appreciative from hearing from you and what a great job. And we know that as you go off to college, you're going to keep doing great things. So hopefully you'll come back to these board meetings once in a while and just share with us the great things that you're doing.
Thank you.
And the last acknowledgement I want to make is a congratulations to all of our Fountain Central and Southeast Fountain Virtual Academy graduates. There are 9 days left. We have a great group of kids that have really done phenomenal things that will be graduating. This is our first year to also have Virtual Academy students graduating. It will all be in one commencement. But just congratulate to all of them. And as Carter shared, just last night alone, almost $387,000 in scholarships alone because of the great things that these kids are doing. We had a number of kids, there were about 5 that were being honored that are going into the military to serve our country. These are values and things that they've gained from this community and the school system. So thank you to our students and for all of the staff who have inspired them and gotten them to where they're at. And now discussion items, since that follows. First of all, everyone is welcome to go, but the Petersburg Redevelopment Commission meets on Monday, June 6th at 5:30. Southeast Fountain is, we're in a shared district. Basically, they look at TIF money and things like that. And so we're always invited to go to that annual Redevelopment Commission meeting. so that we can voice opinions about how they use some of that TIF money. Two other things that I just want to share, the board, you have asked about the pool area. We know that the ceiling in there needs a lot of work. We've reached out to a couple of places, one of which the company that came at a work session and told you some things. So we've reached out to a couple to come out and give us an estimate of even what it's gonna take. There's two parts, taking down the ceiling so that they can know what's in there. So we need to start with what's it gonna cost to even get to that step? And then from there, we'll get the estimate to actually fix whatever they find after that first step. Because before we paint in there, before we do a lot of other things, we need to fix the HVAC so that otherwise the walls are just gonna keep getting messed up. And then the last thing, I just want to discuss about things for this summer. Usually amongst our summer projects, we have paving done in our parking lot a different area each year. But, this summer, I'm hoping that instead of doing that, because there's not many areas that really need repaved this year, we might have a few crack and seal areas, but instead using some of those building maintenance funds that I used for that instead to do some of the landscaping needs. For example, at the front of the high school, the bricks there are all crumbling and falling down. The bushes have grown up to block the windows, which is a safety concern. And likewise, we have some things at the elementary school too that we want to look at, the making sure that it's aesthetically pleasing and safe for our students and staff. So I just want you to know that this year, instead of spending that big chunk of change on paving, we're gonna do some of those other things that also need to be done that get neglected sometimes because we have to look at priorities to be fiscally responsible.
Thank you, Dr. Grimes. Statements, concerns of the board. I want to say, first of all, thanks to the two teachers, Ms. Siller and Ms. Slider, for the time they spent with us. I know especially Mrs. Siller, she's been here a while. She's going to be missed. And to tag on to what Dr. Graham says, I came out to the 50th, so that was really cool. And I heard a lot of really good things said. Seen some really teachers I haven't seen in a really long time that taught out here in the beginning. Mrs. Lyons coming in was really cool. So she was the original secretary that actually came from Petersburg Elementary to here. That was neat. I think she told me she's 94.
No,
Is that right? Something.
she's maybe not, well,
Anyway, she's in her
Yeah,
90s and
yes.
she was walking around talking. It was just really cool to see her and some of the other teachers, Mr. and Mrs. Colson, and those. That was a really neat thing. Thank you very much for putting that on. Thanks to all the staff and the administration in both buildings and the central office for a great year. We finally got back to somewhat normal. It felt like, and the kids, I think, are really glad for it. And I want to say, I think we're making Southeast Fountain School Corporation the best, making changes, doing things different, trying to get out there to put us back to where people want to send their kids here. And then congratulations to Chris Webb for the quarterback Colts thing. That's a cool honor for him. And Mr. Shaby, thank you for doing what you. I'd heard about that before Dr. Grimes had spoke about it. Those are the things that we love about you guys, that you do those little things like that. So you're not asked to do. It's not part of your job. You just do it. And so we appreciate that. And then last but not least, thanks to Dr. Grimes for a very good year. We appreciate you. You're 1 year out of your 10 that you have to stay. So that's all I had. Anybody else?
ditto everything he just said.
Okay, next is document signing, which we did before the meeting. So adjournment. Motion.
Second.
Adjournment at 7:39.